there is no escape, nor do we want it. We've come to thrive on it and each other. You can't get the adrenaline pumping without the terror.
The year is 2009. My brother takes me on a trip to Spirit Halloween. Had I known that this day would change my course forever, I wouldn't have believed it. But it did. I fell in love with everything I was seeing, this world of horror, these iconic characters that I knew but weren't that familiar with. Not long after that, I asked my mom to rent me A Nightmare on Elm Street from Blockbuster. Now, I don't know if I'm a man that believes in fate per se, but something seemed very poetic about Nightmare on Elm Street 1 being rented, and my mom had to grab part 2. I was destined to see this movie before any other Nightmare on Elm Street film, and it's what made me fall in love with horror. We all have a beginning for our love for this genre. Fast forward to a few years ago, and I saw this on The Devil's Latex, a website that has amazing props. He was having this flash sale on a Part 2 Freddy, and I dropped everything I was doing to message him and say, don't sell that. That thing belongs to me. Well, this is that Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 Freddy I own. When I first watched this movie, you have to understand how terrified I was. Let me set up my lifestyle. When you're not exposed to that much horror in your life, when you see something like this, it will absolutely traumatize you. This Freddy right here from Part 2 kept me awake for days. Absolutely no pun intended. Until this day, the absolute scariest look of Freddy has to be from Part 2. This is what I think Satan himself would look like. Talk about a killer design from Kevin Yeager. Now, he describes this Freddy as a male witch, and I completely see what he means by that. You know, each Freddy kind of has this individualistic look to it, kind of the way the Jasons did in each entry. And when it comes to the best look of the franchise, I can't emphasize enough how great this one is. This is the Freddy you don't want to run into. You could put up a fight against Freddy's Dead or Dream Child or Dream Master even, but this is one where I just don't think you stand a chance. I can remember when I watched this movie for the first time, when Freddy burst out of Jesse, that was one of the most traumatic experiences of a movie watch I've ever had. I mean, I lost sleep over it. So having this bust in my collection means everything to me. This is the movie that made me the horror fan I am. And the design is just insane on this Devil's Latex piece. Look at the back of his head. The Devil's Latex has become a very important company to me. Some of my favorite pieces in my collection come straight from them. For instance, my Jason Takes Manhattan, this one, my Part 4 Freddy I have. I mean, some really great designs. They're a company based out of Canada, and they make some of the most impressive pieces you can get. While companies like Trick or Treat Studios are cool, they're these mass-produced companies that give us great licensed items. But when it comes to the best, I don't think you can really top the Devil's Latex in today's market. You get what you pay for. And here's a prime example of something horrifying that you can bring home to your own collection today. The Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 Freddy. Such a symbolic piece for me to have. It's one of my all-time favorite pieces from one of the all-time greatest horror sequels. Mark Patton is the Scream Queen of this franchise to me, the ultimate Scream Queen of this franchise, and this is the ultimate Freddy of the franchise.